This is John. He really wants to break into big tech, but he spends hours doom scrolling. With MediaDash, he saved hours and broke in. To MediaDash. Here at MediaDash, we streamline your media journey. So let's learn a little bit more about MediaDash and what it is. So I'm Sharia, by the way, and I worked on backend and obviously publicizing. And I worked with Jeannie, Emily, Amol, Aaron, and Suresh, which made for an amazing team overall to work on this project. So let's look at the issue that we're trying to solve here at MediaDash. So people love discovering content, but really waste hours doom scrolling across different platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, even media platforms like Netflix or Hulu, and they really struggle to find what truly entertains them or what fulfills their kind of needs, right? And they're just seeing kind of mindless content that doesn't really fit or tailor to them. So what we do at MediaDash is basically we offer a free AI-powered personalized entertainment dashboard that basically brings all your favorite content, subscriptions, everything into one place to deliver personalized recommendations. We streamline your entire browsing to tailor it to you. It's not just one browsing as in like Google search. We streamline it directly to what each user does and their data. So we look at like their subscriptions, the genres that they enjoy, what they've rated in the past as something good, and we kind of push out that content into the browsing of what they want. And you can search kind of for anything. You can say, like, I want to watch like some type of movie, like a funny movie, right? And we'll suggest personalized recommendations of funny movies that you'd find interesting, perhaps. And that's really the importance of MediaDash, right? It's innovative because there's nothing else like there. You just have like things, individual subscriptions like Netflix or Hulu, or like short form content like Instagram, TikTok. You can't really find like content in one place, right? We bring it all in one place, which saves people time and it enhances fulfillment and content discovery experiences. So let's look at some design features that we have here. There's some lo-fi sketches, some mid-fis, and some hi-fis. So I'll just look into this. You can pause if you'd like to look more into this. But our UI UX designer has really put a lot of thought and effort into making this feel really personalized and nice. And we can see like minions, or Isaguru. This is like kind of what our app is like based off of. You can see kind of inspiration from things like Spotify and Netflix, like these modern media platforms. Really clean aesthetic, really nice. Very simple, just 3 pages kind of, and a browsing. Right. So let's look at analytics for a second. So we did deploy on Clerk, or we did deploy on Vercel, and we did use Clerk and Supabase. So we're using like Google accounts, like look at how many users we have and who's interacting with the website. And we did deploy kind of on the last day of this event. So we've gotten 21 Clerk users, which is great. Obviously, we could push for more, but we really just didn't get time or the space after struggling to deploy like backend issues and things that I'll talk about later. So like kind of push this out to like the general public as much as we'd like to. Yeah. So I'm gonna hand it over to one of my partners.
Hi, I'm Emily and I'm going to present about MediaDash. You start off with a landing page that just showcases what the app offers. And then email is pretty easy. You can log in with Apple, Google, or other providers, and that's handled using Clerk. Then after you log in, you can see onboarding. You can just select the platforms that you like, and then the AI will recommend these platforms more than others. So you'll see more content from them. And the same idea applies for your favorite genres. Now we're at the home page. Currently, it does have placeholder data, but if you click on something, it should show you this individual page where you can also record your rating of this content. And I would say the mobile view does look better, but anyway, I'm going to start searching. And I'd like some comedy movies. And here we have them. If I click on this, the same metadata gets passed through. We see that this is Dune, and the mobile view looks much better. And now, let's close that. If you click on this search, it should, in theory, highlight this text, so it's easier to enter in stuff. But anyway, you're at your user profile. You want to change some settings. It's really easy to do. If you want to see the ratings that you've given before because you care about, certain content more than others, you can see all of them here. And we haven't implemented the rest of these pages, but you can also sign out pretty simply. Thank you for watching.
Okay, so speaking in architecture, these are just some Excel-draw or things we sketched kind of to look into. So we have this onboarding, and then it goes into the home, the dashboard, and then the My page where users can handle, add or delete their subscriptions, and then this goes to like a search page, and then it goes to recommended content to watch as well. This is all personalized, and in the next slide, I'll show you more of like the agentic workflow that I was talking about earlier. So if we look more into this, we find these agents for user login preferences, these AI search queries. We have pre-processing, we have summarization of each search that you put into it. We have an agent that's summarizing them, pre-processing it, parsing them to make it more applicable to certain search APIs that we're using, right? So that we're able to streamline these searches. We have an algorithm to as well brute force through things that we think you'll like based on the data. So we're not just putting in one search query into the APIs in case it doesn't return enough, right? So we're trying to give you a lot of options. We're trying to personalize it as much as possible. So I think the search part is one of the most important parts of our agentic workflow. And we have LLM agents that we're kind of engineering the prompts or pre-processing the prompts before we're actually putting them into the API. So if I searched, I love Christmas movies, it's not going to search I love Christmas movies into the API. It's going to first go through the pre-processing agent where it's going to summarize that, and then it's going to go through after that in the genres and look at your data, and then make a more personalized query, maybe specific types of Christmas movies or like funny Christmas movies or something more specific, tailored to the user, and it's ranked by what you might like. Yeah, and so that we're just storing the data and we're kind of using this personalized system. Okay, and I'll talk about the tech stack for 1 second quickly. So I guess we're using React, Node, JavaScript, obviously, TypeScript, Python, Fast API, Supabase, which is a SQL wrapper, and then for authentication, login, and all that, Clerk.js, and then for AI/ML on the back end, we're using LangChain, and we're using Google Gemini's APIs, to create this really streamlined approach for personalization. And then for deployment, as is standard for JavaScript, React, and stuff, we're using Vercel. Um, yeah, so I'm going to talk about some hurdles real quick. So some hurdles throughout this were integration of this Python and Next React system. Um, yeah, so it's quite challenging to integrate these oftentimes because of how they're separate. We're not writing the backend in the same thing as the front end. So we're going to have to deploy the backend somewhere else and then make API calls to the backend. And getting that up and running is a little bit hard, right? And then the sourcing, the fact that we're sourcing from many different types of APIs and many different types of media platforms is really challenging, and then putting that all into one source. And we do have like 20K plus lines of code. When I last checked, we probably have way more than that now. But yeah, just some stats right there. And then Python deployment in general was kind of a hassle because of data limitations, especially with like LangChain, with its very large dependencies. Yeah. So some future steps. We want to incorporate more media platforms, obviously, to make it more personalized and more all-in-one inclusive. And then we want to gather more user feedback. Right now we have the rating system, but we'd like to add more of that. And then we'd also rather utilize our own personalized model to give recommendations rather than using general LLMs, which is kind of a long stretch, but just something to think about in the future. Right? If we have a lot of user data and we know what they're liking, um, it's much easier to give more personalized recommendations that way um, if you scale this to a large point. Thank you for listening, by the way, if you got this far. Um, and why waste hours scrolling to find quality content while with MediaDash, all it takes is one dash. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thank you so much.